Alright, so I'm going to be watching this video called Why Bill Russell is the Greatest Ever. It's by Johnny Arnett. I'm going to say that I won't pause it as much. He has it divided into sections: abilities, skills, less teams, MVP, and coach, and then team success. Now, I personally, everybody's criteria for GOAT is different. My criteria, as you know, for greatest player of all time is just an individual. Like, how good were you? Were you really the best player ever? That's my criteria. So I'm gonna disagree with him, but I want to see what he has to say, and then obviously at the end I'm gonna give my own opinion, and I'm gonna make a case for Bill Russell. Even though I don't consider him the GOAT, I'm gonna give you his case, in my opinion. So I'm excited. Hopefully I don't have to mute that.
At the beginning of every NBA season, each team has one ultimate goal, and one player achieved that goal more than any other player in NBA history.
That's true.
William Felton Russell, also known as Bill Russell.
That's true. William
Russell was the
Felton
leader
Russell.
of the most dominant NBA dynasty of all time. Russell famously led his team to 11 NBA championships and an incredible 8 straight NBA titles.
He did lead him there.
Despite
Should have
the
been
fact that
9
he was the
straight, but
best
he was
player
injured
on
in
the most
1957.
dominant team in NBA history, many
Or
still
58, my bad.
discredit Bill
No, he was
based on
injured
the
58.
numerous narratives about his game and about the era he played in.
That's true. Can't
They
disagree
say
with
he
that.
played against weak competition
No.
and benefited from the fact that he played in the 1960s. I'll be exposing these narratives.
You know what's crazy?
Let's take a look at Russell's abilities as an athlete.
He's fast.
People today think Wilt Chamberlain and Bill Russell dominated as regular big
He was
men
fast. He was very
in the
athletic, man.
60s.
Just watching some of these
But what
highlights.
those people fail to realize
Man.
is that despite the fact that they were
Look at that.
7'1"
Like
and
today,
6'10", Russell and Chamberlain
and be
were
honest
two
with you,
of
that
the
ain't
most
even the best
athletic
clip I've ever seen.
players in NBA
I'll just tell you right
history.
now. That's amazing right
For
there.
example, Bill
He
Russell
jumped,
has been the highest
hesitated.
scorer in all of NBA.
Well, before I get there, right, I'm going to let him continue because he's about to talk about Bill Russell's vertical. And I'll try to put this post edit. I don't know if I can find the clip because it is very hard to find. But I've seen a clip of Bill Russell take Wilt Chamberlain off the dribble and tomahawk dunk on him. I kid you not. I was looking at it and I was thinking like, man, like Bill Russell has he doesn't like he was like 240, 245. You know what I mean? Without lifting weights. You know what I mean? If he lifted weights, he would be like 255, 260 easily. And he still would have that athleticism. I just don't see how he wouldn't be great offensively in today's era with that type of athleticism. You know, because we've seen players like Giannis who is very good, but, you know, he definitely relies on his athleticism and physical gifts to score, and it works for him. So I think Bill Russell could do the same. Now, that's kind of controversial, but, you know, I'm just being honest.
NBA history. A vertical leap that is said to be as high as 48 inches.
4 feet?
Bill
Man.
Russell was ranked 7th in the
That's a
entire
crazy photo
world
right there.
in the high jump
The fact that we
in
have that
1966.
photo is amazing. Shout out to the guy who took the photo, because
When it comes to his leaping
Amazing.
ability, he wasn't just superior
Them
to
rebounds.
all other players in the NBA, but also superior to most of the greatest Olympian athletes all over the world.
that's true. He could have gone to the
Bill was also
Olympics.
incredibly skilled as a 6'10" center.
And he's
He had
6'10".
the
I
ability
mean,
to take
just
the
man.
opponent off the dribble, and
Yeah.
had the ball handling skills to get the rebound and take it coast to coast.
That clip, if I find that clip, I'm telling y'all.
Bill was also one of the
Look at that.
greatest passing
Look at
centers
that.
in NBA
Whoo! He
history.
jumped right over that guy. Yes, he is.
Per game for a
I gotta
center.
say, Bill Russell's passing
That's
is
the second
extremely
highest
underrated.
assists per game season for a center in
And if I'm-
NBA history.
I don't want to pause it. I don't want to pause it, but I have to pause it. His assists per game, yeah, 4.3 for his career. 5.3, 5. I forget what the number is, but it's over 5 as his career high. That's lowballing him. I'm be honest with you. In that era, they were very stingy about giving assists to players. Bill Russell probably averaged 7 or 8. Like, it sounds hard to believe, but this guy passed the ball a lot, right? And they didn't get credit for every pass, so it's kind of hard to. It's impossible to predict. But man, I'm telling you right now, he got a lot of assists, a lot more assists than we realize.
And Wilt Chamberlain are
Same thing
also
with Bill.
only two
Same thing with
centers
Will
in
and
NBA
anybody in that
history to
era.
average over 4.3 assists per game for their
Yeah.
entire career. When you realize how
at that
skilled and
rebound.
how athletic Russell was, it's easy to see why he stood out.
I said the
amongst his
pick and roll.
peers
He
and
would
won
dominate
so
the pick
many
and roll today's NBA.
championships. As I mentioned in my
He's
last
too athletic.
video, the idea that Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain
Great timing on his
used to make
blocks.
short white
Look at that.
guys is a full-blown misconception.
He doesn't
The
fall for
average
pump
height of
fakes?
the NBA player in Bill's
That's true.
era was 6'6" and
Yeah.
today it is 6'7".
Actually, it's
It wasn't
6'6"
any
now.
different at the center
Just
position
want to point
either.
that out.
Bill Russell did a lot of his all-time
That's a great
great
clip. That's a game winner right there.
basketball
I think that's
against guys who were
game
bigger than him.
4
A 6
or
foot
game
tall
2,
Bill Russell was
1964
often
finals.
matched
Yeah,
up against centers like a
taking down
6'11"
court.
Walt Bellamy,
Big
a
guy.
7'3" Swade Halbrook,
Super
6'7"
athlete,
Ray
technically.
Felix, a 7-foot Walter Dukes, a
Athlete.
7-foot Mel Counts, a 6'11" Nate Thurman,
Great.
and of course,
Wilt,
the
yeah.
7-foot 1-inch Wilt Chamberlain.
That's probably.
Bill Russell's crit-
Forget everybody else. The fact that he played Wilt as many times as he did and was still like yes, in my opinion, I do think Wilt outplayed him. But in the eyes of many people, they say Bill Russell played just as good. And this guy didn't have the scoring, not like Wilt, and he was still playing at that level. That should tell you how good he was. And I'm going to save that for the end, but man, I think he's underrated as an individual player. I think people look at his rings and forget that without them, he still has a case, and I'll get to that in the end, but
critics
yeah, let's
also
continue.
like to bring up how in Bill's era, he played in an NBA with only 8 to 14 teams. Although most youngins today use this
It's weird to see so
as
many
a
highlights from the past.
many actually
I mean, I've
use
seen
this
all
as
of these
a
highlights, but
emphasis for Bill Russell's
just
greatness, and
kinda
I'll
interesting.
explain how. Less teams meant
a lot of
greater
clips are
players
slowed down,
faced
which is
in
funny
the
because like people
finals.
don't realize that.
In
That was a
the
beautiful
18
block.
regular season, Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain would face
Great
each other
timing
as
and
many as
rebounding,
18 times
which is
in a single
disgusting.
season.
Imagine having to
And that's
guard
not even
Wilt for
including
18
blowout
times.
games. Also
Yeah, in the
imagine if
playoffs they
current
played another
NBA
7
shrunk
pretty
down
much
to
every other
10
year.
teams. Now have the 20 eliminated teams redistribute their talent to the other 10 teams in the league.
Which is exactly what I've
Every
always said.
team would be
I
stacked
agree. I
with
100%
stars
agree with
like
Johnny
Jordan.
Arnett here in this case. I
Every
can't
team
disagree with
would be
him
as loaded
at all.
as the current
He's a
Golden
genius
State
so far.
Warriors. This league sounds overpowered and hard to believe, but in reality,
It's pretty amazing.
this was the type of league Bill
You do that to
Russell
Wilt,
dominated
you
in
can
the
do that to
1980s
anybody.
and
I'm telling you right now.
1960s.
Just being honest with you.
With so few teams and such a small concentration for the
Good
NBA's
teammates, too.
talent, rosters were loaded.
Putbacks. I wonder how many putbacks they got. We don't really have statistics on that, but I'm interested.
Bill once even used this narrative
He
against
cooked
him.
Michael Jordan. Let's be honest. He cooked him.
Debating their greatness on the golf
I
course.
heard this story.
Bill told Jordan that his championship against the Phoenix Suns wouldn't have happened in Bill's era, since a key role player, John Paxson, wouldn't have been there to hit the game-sealing three-point shot. But instead, John Paxson would have been up in the stands, since he wouldn't have been good enough to make the 10-team league.
I agree with him. And you know what's funny? I think the same thing about JJ Redick. There's a reason I'm saying that, and I hope you guys know why.
Whether or not the entirety of that statement holds true, you gotta admit, that's a pretty solid shot for Bill to take at Jordan.
It's hilarious.
Russell dominated a legitimate era of
Russell's the only one that could.
basketball
Wilt
against men
Russell
who stood
could.
tall,
I mean,
using
Jordan
his
couldn't say anything to
athleticism,
them.
high basketball
Just
IQ,
kinda
and
impossible.
team style of play. To go
For
along
different
with his
reasons,
11
too.
NBA titles, he has 5 MVP awards.
Yeah.
He was an All-Star every single season
That's
except
true.
his rookie year, and he has an absurd 22.5 career average for rebounds per game.
Extremely valuable. I'm gonna get to that. I hope.
In Bill Russell's day,
Yeah.
many believe
I'm gonna
Bill
talk about
Russell
everything at the
would
end.
have won
So
the award more times than any other
anybody,
player in
absolutely,
NBA
he would have had. I'm trying to think. Like there were certain years he wouldn't have gotten it. Like his rookie year, he wouldn't get it because he didn't play enough games. Wilt's rookie year, they would have gave it to Wilt because he was the new kid on the block. And then I think after 67-ish, they'd probably give it to Wilt a couple years. Maybe twice. I think in 68 for sure they would give it to Wilt. But I'm trying to think. Also, it's hard to predict, but he definitely would have at least 8. Out of his 13 years, I could only see him lose 5 times at most. And 2 of those are just because he had no chance, right? His rookie year and then the year Wilt's rookie year where they would have just gave it to Wilt. But he would have a lot. I'm telling you right now, this dude, he's already the best defender ever without the defensive player of the years. But with them, we would rank him a lot higher on the all-time great list, especially the casuals, not just, historians.
Not only was he a terrific rim protector and a shot blocking machine,
The best.
but no matter
Second
who
best
he
shot
was
blocker
guarding,
technically, but
including Wilt
best defender
Chamberlain,
ever.
Bill would regularly hold his opponent far
Put the
below
clamps on
his
everybody. I'll be honest, man. You go through his career, he clamped
Russell
everybody.
accomplished something that the other GOAT candidates never
I wish he
did.
played Kareem. That's the one matchup we missed out on. Russell retired, Kareem came in, right, like 4 months later or something like that.
1966 wild.
It's kind of like that. I'm going to let him continue because he's going to talk about the coaching. But speaking of Bill Russell and Kareem, we missed out on that just like we missed out on Jordan and LeBron. where Jordan retired 2003. LeBron got drafted that year, but didn't play till the next season, obviously. Bill Russell retired in 69, and Kareem got drafted in 1969, which is kind of weird to think about, but yeah.
He was still playing. Bill went on to lead the Celtics to win 2 championships in the 3 years that he was the player coach of the team, which were
great,
also
by the
his
way,
final 2 seasons.
Great runs.
Just imagine in today's day if a contending team had a head coaching vacancy.
Underpaid too. He was underpaid as a coach. He should have been paid more. But that's beside the point.
For example, imagine if Steve Kerr left his coaching spot and then Steph Curry became the new head coach and led the Warriors to multiple championships.
It would be unbearable. I'll be honest with you, if Curry did that, I would hate getting on Twitter, especially with Curry fans. Oh my goodness, they would just talk so much.
And it's a travesty that it's so rarely mentioned.
Yeah.
Bill's marvelous career was also full of legendary moments and clutch performances, like in the 1968 season when he led his Celtics to come back from a 3-1 deficit in the playoffs to win the championship before LeBron made it cool. How about when Bill Russell dropped 30 points and 40 rebounds in games?
See, I like watching these blogs. Man.
To clinch a close overtime.
Yeah, 30 and 40 is insane. Like, the fact that he did that.
We just know about the 11.
I think it was Game 7, too. And he shot like 70% that game, which is crazy. One of the greatest Game 7 performances ever. I think it was Game 7. It might have been Game 6.
Russell was a clutch performer.
Extremely clutch.
For his team when it mattered most, over and over again.
Extremely clutch.
Bill Russell and the Celtics went to a Game 7 in the NBA Finals 5 times. And all 5
they never lost Game
times
7s.
Russell
Crazy.
came through for his team, and they won the championship. We can only speculate how many Finals MVPs Bill Russell would have had if they had awarded him in his era.
Like 8 or 9. 8 or 9. He should have. Yeah. 8 or 9, yeah.
He wasn't the most tremendous scorer, and he never once averaged over 20 points per game in a season.
I'm telling you right now, I think that's such a fluke when people mention the scoring. I think he's a much better offensive player than people talk about him or realize. I'll get to that after he's done because I know he's going to talk about team success. And, you know, he has the greatest laugh of all time, which is extra credit points. I gotta be honest with y'all.
But that's not what he needed to be for his team's success. Bill Russell was the ultimate team player. Most of the all-time great players are a system within themselves. If you stick Wilt Chamberlain into a great team, the team becomes about Wilt Chamberlain. If you stick LeBron James into a great team, the team becomes about LeBron James. And if you stick Michael Jordan into a great team, the team becomes
I guess that is true.
Jordan.
It is very true. Bill's a weird, yeah, that is weird because he was easily the best player on the Celtics. But the team, it was like, yeah, it's a weird thing. I know what he's talking about. I gotta admit, like, that's a good argument because it's just hard to grasp that. Like, you're telling me you're one of the 5 best players of all time without the rings, and the team is somehow not about you. It's like still a team game. That is amazing. That the way you play the game and you can do that, we have to like really give him credit for that. I have to admit that's a great argument once you like really think about it.
Legends who you can't say that about.
Yeah.
He won't change the integrity.
Yeah, very
of the
few
roster,
legends. Yeah.
And he won't mess with the chemistry in any way. He doesn't have to have the ball in his hands. He's unselfish. He's a terrific leader, a legendary rebounder, and one
second
of,
best,
if not the greatest defender ever.
The best defender ever. Let's
Bill
just get it
Russell
straight.
will only make your team function better, no matter who's on it. Period. Case closed.
Yeah.
In Bill Russell's own words, he simply stated it like this: "The way
I play, my team wins."
This is why Bill
I can't,
is the
dude.
greatest
Listen,
player of all time.
we can't disagree with him because he won in college. He won it in the NBA. You know what's funny? They always say, "Oh, Kareem has the greatest career in basketball history because he won in college every year and then he won 6 in the NBA." No, Bill Russell has the greatest career in NBA history or in basketball history because he won all the years in college. I think he might have not lost a game either. I mean, he went long periods undefeated in college, and he still won 11 in the NBA. You know what I mean? Like, to me, that's the greatest career in basketball history, not Kareem. Like, I would put Kareem number 2, number 3. You know, I probably number 2. I'm trying to think. I don't think I could put anybody above Kareem except Bill Russell. But I mean, so like, think about it. Like, that's how underrated he is that people forget that Kareem also won every year in college. You know, and when they talk about the greatest college players of all time, They put Kareem at number one. They don't even mention Bill Russell. You know what I mean? And I understand all Kareem, dominant scorer, but Bill was the dominant defender and rebounder, a much better defender than than Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, to be honest with you, right? And so, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to get into that too much, though. Let's just finish watching the video.
Guys. This was video number 2 of 6 in my GOAT series. Make sure to like.
Should I check out the other ones?
Share. I post new videos weekly, and I would love for you to be a part of this community with me.
No. Wilt Chamberlain's the greatest ever. I might watch this video next, or Bill Russell's True Absurd resume. That would be good, because I love Bill Russell. I'm working on a little video about Bill Russell, but I want to grow my channel just a little bit more, because like when you put so much work into a video and it only gets 1,000 views and only like 20 comments, and every single comment is like, wow, this is amazing, you know what I mean, and YouTube stops promoting it, it kind of sucks. It hurts your ambition. So I'm pushing it back just so I can try to build the channel a little more, so when it comes out, it's great. That being said, I have to admit something about Bill Russell. Man, I'm starting to see more as to why he has like the best case. Like, I kind of see it now. Like, at first I would be like, well, Wilt was a better player, which I do still think so. But like, I see what people mean by like, oh, his case is like really good. You know what I mean? So I mean, I usually put him number 5 just because I think when I've put him like higher than that, people always just argue with me. So I left him at 5 for a long time. But working on this video, I'm be honest, like, he's starting to go up on my list. And if one day I become a Bill Russell's the GOAT enthusiastic, or I don't know if that's the correct word, or hypist, or whatever word you want to use, then I'll tell you guys. But like I was saying earlier, I don't think the rings even determine how great he was as a player. I think as an individual player, what he brought to the team is so underrated. Like, his impact was ridiculous, right? You take a player who is a supreme athlete, right, who has the size, who can play center, and he is able to get every rebound, right? He's able to clean up the glass on both ends, right? So he's getting you second chance points on the offensive end and defensive end, or securing the rebound on defense, right? Who happens to be the best defender ever, which means your team is going to be good every game, pretty much. Like, there's never going to be a game where your team falls off, because defense is so much more consistent. You know what I mean? And then you take him and you go, wait a minute, he has good teammates around him and he knows how to play with them. That's something that I have to admit, like, it's hard for me to grasp, because I think teammates like, oh yeah, but like, you can't make your teammates better, you can only put them in better situations. But I look at LeBron and I go, wait, LeBron's had great teammates before, but it's hard for him to work with them because his style of play is so different. Like, same thing with Jordan. I don't think Jordan could have played with certain players. But it seems like Bill's like one of those few players that could play with anybody. You know what I mean? I guess except for centers, but even then I wouldn't be surprised. So I mean, just, it's like the little things, I think, with Bill Russell that make you like appreciate his game more. But like I was saying, his defense, his rebounding ability alone makes him a top 5 player ever. And I forgot, and I think I was gonna say this, and I said I would. He's a very positive offensive player. You know, his ability to block shots, secure the rebound, and outlet, and he did that at a very consistent base. Like, I'm telling you right now, this guy was special in terms of that. That created more offense for his team than almost anything. So how do you not consider him a much better offensive player than people get him credit for? You know what I mean? I've seen people put Magic Johnson a number 2 all time. You know, Magic Johnson is insane on offense, but I'm be honest, Bill Russell's defense to me is much better than Magic's offense. You know, even if they were equal, I think when you look at each other's like weaker points and to their game, like the Bill Russell's offense and Magic's defense, Bill still brings more on offense than Magic does on defense. So you see what I mean? Like, that is why I just don't consider Magic even in the case, because I would never take him over Bill Russell. Now, that being said, I think I've talked too long, so I'm going to have to end this video soon. But thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. Subscribe. I'll try to, put out more videos consistently. I think now that I'm reacting to videos, it's a lot easier. So, yeah, thank you guys for watching. God bless you. And remember, Jesus loves you. Take care.